All right, welcome back. This video is not going to be your typical lesson or gear demo from me. I'm going to walk you through my experience at Sweetwater's Gearfest 2022. Now, in the past, Sweetwater's Gearfest has been their own NAMM show, essentially. Lots of tents in the parking lot, vendors show up to show off their gear, the public comes through, 30, 40, 50,000 people through the turnstiles. There's performances, there's demonstrations, all kinds of cool stuff, and I've been able to do that over the years a few times. But this one, since, you know, we've been separated from each other for these events for a few years now, they said, let's bring in some of our favorite folks on YouTube that do what I do, and a whole host of other folks that do many, many different things, whether it's perform, teach, just, you know, create fun documentary style content, and bring them in and have them sit down with some of our folks to create some really cool videos and have new experiences that they can share on their channels for their viewers. So it was about midweek when my buddy Brett Papa and I jumped in his Jeep, put the top down. We drove 6.5 hours to Fort Wayne, Indiana from Nashville. We stopped at a bunch of different creepy love and pilot stations on the way, had some snacks, listened to some music, and prepared ourselves to play some guitars and to meet a lot of good people. So going to Sweetwater is always a trip because it's this massive megaplex campus that started from a very humble music store. So it's really cool to see everything they have to offer with regard to musical instruments and the performance space and studios. So possibly the coolest thing Sweetwater did was bring all of us together in one spot where we could make a lot of new friends and connect with old ones too. I mean, by far, reconnecting with my friend Tim Pierce, Pete Thorne, Rhett Shull, and of course Brett and I drove up and spent a lot of time in the car together. We had a blast. We all went to dinner every night. We talked about where we saw the music industry going, talked about the gear that we were excited about. We appeared in each other's videos, podcasts, all that stuff. It was a blast. And I have some stuff documented that I want to show you guys. I think you're really going to enjoy. All right, so before we see some highlights of Gearfest 2022, I want to encourage you to subscribe to the channel and please hit the thumbs up button. Also check out my website, workingclassguitar.com. Hundreds of online video lessons and guitar courses as well. You'll dig it. So that being said, let's check out Sweetwater's Gearfest, and bear with us because some of the audio isn't the best. It's a trade show. At its core, you're always going to have some things happen. We went rogue. We did the iPhone with a mic. Sometimes it was great. Sometimes it was just okay. All right, I think you're gonna dig it. Let's jump in. So in addition to all that stuff, Sweetwater set up some guitar games, and it was kind of fun. There was this one in particular called Rig Roll, and my buddy Don Carr from Sweetwater was sort of curating and hosting it. You basically rolled dice, and the dice number corresponded to the guitar, amp, and pedals you would play. We got some solid footage and audio from this as well, and I'll put the links below to all of the gear that I played as well. I think that'd be a lot of fun. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say in the comments. So let's check out the rig roll, and then we'll talk some more about what I saw. All right, so possibly the coolest thing at Gearfest that I've seen is the rig roll, hosted by none other than my friend Don Carr. You know him, you love him. Plenty of amazing demos at sweetwater.com. So Don, tell me what I'm about to get into. Am I going to lose money here? Am I going to sign away a firstborn child?
Man, you could. You know what? We'll sign you up at the Keno desk downstairs, and then you can just, you know, we'll get all your information.
They take care of that, yeah.
And take care of all that. You don't have to worry about it. No, seriously. This is we have 8-sided die here.
Whoa.
Right.
Okay.
And so we have. You can see we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them.
Right.
So you roll each die individually. And you roll for, the first one is you roll for your guitar. So you've got any one of these 8 guitars to choose from, right? So whatever your number is, see the number corresponds. Same thing with the amp. And then we've got gain pedals, modulation pedals, time-based pedals, and then what we like to call the, you know, the question mark category there down on the bottom. So
like a wild card.
Yeah, the wild card. Indeed, the wild card, man. So we have the wild card setting.
That is a pedal that I'm creating, trademark. No,
the wild card.
You don't know what it is when you plug it.
Exactly. You don't know what
you're sound like. We don't know.
It's a wild card. Good luck.
All right, so I got to roll the dice, and you're going to hook me up. Right?
Exactly. And then just make music. And at some point, just kind of have everything on, you know, at some point or another.
Okay. So there's a chance I could play a 7-string through any number of those into a deluxe.
The deluxe.
Like,
absolutely.
That's going to be terrifying.
Yeah.
All right,
yeah.
let me roll the dice.
Let's do it. Let's roll, man.
Cool. Oh, the EVH. Yes. 2 through the Dr. Z. All right. I've owned a Dr. Z. We'll see what happens here. Gain stage pedal, pink. 4. Oh, wow, the SRV. Okay, the steel string Vertex pedal. So is that 6 or 9? That's 6. Q-Tron.
Yes.
5. Canyon. All right, can do that. And the last one. 2. The Boss synth.
Nice. Well, this is unique.
So I pulled, I rolled a 7. I think that's a good thing. If you roll a 7, you get an EVH Frankenstein.
That
That's
sounds
pretty
lucky.
awesome. It does,
Sounds
for
lucky.
sure. And tell me about the amp that I plugged into. I rolled a 2.
Right, that's a Dr. Z Jetta.
Okay.
Man, great, clean headroom, kind of a low power amp, but still, man, really just, you know, you can hear, I mean, it's got all that sparkle and all that depth, man.
Yeah.
Very cool.
No, it feels great.
Yeah.
And we're going through a UA aux box, and they have these beautiful studio speakers that we're hearing it through. It's fantastic. And what's great, Sweetwater's like, we're going to record the audio for you and give it to you on a thumb drive. So this audio will come out actually really nice. So that's a dry sound. And one of the pedals I rolled was the Electro-Harmonix Canyon. Cool verb and delay. Okay, so I can do that, right? That's fair enough. Then I don't know much about the Vertex, you know, steel string singery kind of pedal.
Yeah.
And we set it up to have both of these knobs on. So one's kind of feeding each other, probably.
Right.
A little cascading gain.
Right, little cascading gain thing. It's like the SSS is more like the steel string singer, kind of like clean sound. You know, that high headroom,
Right.
with with that kind of bonk
But
thing.
with this pickup is really pushing it.
Yeah.
So
right,
it's gonna.
Right.
It sounds great.
Yeah,
actually.
yeah, you're getting some crunch, but you also got some dynamic range.
It's
in
control,
it,
for
you
sure.
know, yeah.
Still do it. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. So the tricky thing is, okay, you got to pick a mod pedal and then a wild card. So the mod pedal I got was the Q-Tron. Q-Tron, classic envelope filter used by a bunch of different people, kind of has a resurgence. John Mayer's been using one, and a lot of other people. So
Yeah.
like a Mutron, auto wah kind of a sound.
Right.
So can I make some music with that? Let's try it. So there's the high pass, I think that would probably be the best. Let me change the Q. Yes, baby. Now the Frankenstein has the D tuner too.
Yeah,
which is,
right.
The beautiful thing about this is that you can put tools in your hands that you've never used before and see what kind of music. I didn't know I was going to play this. We've been doing this for what, 10 minutes?
Yeah.
Sweet. So I've never played the Boss Synth SY1 before. Anything I need to know about that?
It's kind of the over easy version of the 300, you know, where it's like just some presets and a few controls on the presets. And it's just, you know, it's those kind of analog-y sort of synth things. You can do octave stuff and glide and all kinds of crazy stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, it's just sort of like turn it and go, oh, what's that do? Oh, that's neat.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, that is honestly the best way.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like it's in like a lead sound, which is probably like, yeah, like, yeah. And it tracks really well, so put that verb back, you know. Let's see what I could play. So then it tricks your mind, like, what do you want to play to make that sound appropriate? I could do like a synthy string. Maybe like, this just says pad. I love pads. And it kind of reminds me of like Weather Report or, you know, those kinds of things, you know. Oh, I got the D turn wrong. That's why.
There you go.
Take that off. And when you do that, it tracks. That's pretty amazing.
That's great, man. That sounds like a Billy Cobham record or something, man. That's great.
Yeah. And then you could probably blend, right?
Yeah.
So you got the effect and the direct, so we can pull the effect back, put that on. So now you get this high octave. Probably the same with the low one. Whoa.
Yeah. And it's great because it's got a different tail than the, you know.
It sure does. Woo, that's tear some heads off. All right. That's when I don't know what to do with. Dude, that is a blast. I mean, I think I successfully made it without getting hurt.
No, not at
all. A guitar
man.
I don't play, an amp I don't play.
Total success, man.
I've owned
100%.
the Canyon. That's the only one I've ever owned. That's really fun.
Yeah.
Dude, that was awesome. Thanks so much.
Thank
I'll be
you,
back.
Corey.
We'll do this again.
Please, let's do it again.
And
Absolutely.
you got some more guitar players right behind my camera that are going to do this.
Yeah.
Cool. Thanks, Don.
Thank you.
So the rig roll was definitely one of the most visited rooms in Sweetwater. It was fun to see a lot of people playing stuff they've never put their hands on before. I mean, I saw Tim Pierce play a 7-string. I saw Mark Lettieri playing a V. It was crazy, but we had a good time. And after that, I made sure to go and visit my friend Bryan Ewald at the PRS booth. They had a lot of great guitars I hadn't played before. I hadn't played Mark Lettieri's Fiore signature guitar, and they had one called the Vela, which I always kind of was interested in. And when I plugged it in, I thought it sounded fantastic. The neck pickup really was a killer single coil sound. So he and I did a little bit of jamming, and then I had him talk about it. And this is one where the iPhone did the best it could with my microphone system I had. So I jacked up the volume a little bit, and I think you guys will dig us jamming and talking about the Vela. And then Mark stopped by, and there's a little funky thing that we were doing as well. So that was pretty amazing to get to play with Mark since I've never really jammed with him. All right, check it out. 5 subs. Yeah. Hey, I am with my buddy Bryan Ewald here with PRS. Now, Bryan, it's such a beautiful thing that PRS does is they employ a masterful guitar player, studio musician, father to some really talented kids. I see your posts.
Thank you.
Couldn't be prouder.
I probably could not be. Yeah.
And I always enjoyed these Velas, and I don't know much about it. If you wouldn't mind describing, because I think the neck pickup is gorgeous.
Absolutely.
And the bridge sounded great too.
So the Vela was their first offset body.
Right, okay.
So, you know, obviously stylistically, visually very different than what a lot of people think of a PRS. It's like kind of the opposite side of the Custom 24. It doesn't have the fancy maple top. It's so definitely a little bit more vintage inspired kind of thing. Not only is the body style completely new, they decided ground up, like this pickup was designed for this guitar. It was never in any other PRSs.
Right.
It's since snuck into a few limited run models. Despite the look of 2 sets of pole pieces, this is a single coil.
Okay.
They call it a Type D.
Okay.
It's de-Armand influenced, but it is one of my favorite single coils. It
sounds great.
It's warm. There's just enough top end.
Right.
Mid range is present enough, but not overly done. It blends really well with the bridge pickup. They're calling this DS01, double slug 01. Although it's a covered humbucker, sounds nothing like this. These pickups were originally designed for the Starlight, which is very almost duo jet. Another very like Bigsby.
Yep. No, Starlights are really cool.
And that was the first guitar that really brought me into the PRS world. Like that's the first one that I felt like, man, I could bring this out to any gig.
Yeah.
I could get twangy, spanky country things, R&B things, but it also took gain beautifully. It became a favorite of mine. And when the Vela came out, that pairing of those 2 pickups to me was magical. But then you put that like plate style bridge.
Yeah, it's like a telly style.
Yeah, it's got the brass saddles.
Yeah, which is great.
25.5-inch scale length. I'm sorry, 25-inch scale length, which of course is that's the traditional PRS.
Right.
Where this is 25.5. This, this in the Silver Sky. And then this particular model is all mahogany. Well, they're all mahogany, but this is the standard.
Yeah.
You had mentioned like almost like a dog hair finish, but it's just no grain filler.
Yeah.
Super thin nitro finish. So it's resonant and it breathes. These things are super light already.
It's incredibly light.
But they do make this, and you can get this in a semi-hollow also, which
cool.
is like really, really
Might have to hit them up. So what Bryan's talking about with grain filler is the wood can be kind of rigid and porous.
Yeah.
So the grain filler smooths it out.
Well, the grain will soak up the finish.
Okay.
So what's happening, like when you spray it on, if you don't put grain filler in, depending on the type of wood, certain woods like alder, certain woods don't need it. But mahogany, being as porous it is, when you spray those coats on, it just starts sinking in.
Right.
So that keeps it from doing that. If you want that glass like finish, like on the back of this, the mahogany back of this would have grain filler on it.
Yeah.
So with the satin guitar, without it looking relicked or beat up, it kind of it has a little more natural wood look to it. And the other thing is the satin finish without the grain filler, less steps, less time to make, they're less expensive. So the satin finished guitars are the least expensive.
And you're going to relic it yourself over time.
Yeah. And on stage they look great because you don't get the stage light reflection and
flat finishes under lights. It's a big deal.
Yeah.
But I just want to hear this a little bit more.
Yeah.
That's the neck, and the neck pickup is like super fat. It's not small.
No. The guitar comes preloaded with all those riffs, by the way. It's
those are free.
In 2 keys, you
have
to
offensive.
Pay extra for the rest of the keys.
It's a downloadable pack.
Yeah.
Well, that sounds great.
And now the back knob, the tone knob, pulls out and splits that, so you can also.
Yeah.
And those pickups split to me almost have almost like a lipstick pickup kind of kind of spank and twang to
As
them.
you say it, I can hear it. And it's really jazzy in the neck too. No, fun guitar. I thought this would be fun to show you guys because this isn't one I get to play very much, and we'll do that one in another video.
Sounds great.
Awesome. Thanks, Bryan.
Yeah, man.
So if you visited Sweetwater's YouTube channel before, you probably have seen this guy. That's Nick Bowcott. Nick Bowcott is a killer demonstrator for them. He's a great rock guitar player and principal member of the band Grim Reaper. Got to check them out if you like some old 80s metal. He's a really great guy to boot, and he took me through the Marshall wall that they had outside in the parking lot. 7 heads, Marshall JVM heads, and 21 cabinets. And what he does is he takes you through one stack and then turns them all on. And he kind of describes it. And there's a little bit of footage of me playing it, but the iPhone just couldn't handle all that volume. It was the most visceral thing I ever felt. It was like sound was in your torso. It was incredible. I actually wish I could go do it again because it was that fun. You almost don't know what to play because it feels so amazing. And it also gives you a sense of like what some of our heroes like Hendrix and stuff would get when they would put those cabinets around because they didn't have PA systems. And if you have a closed back cabinet and you step 3 feet to one side or less, you won't even hear the sound anymore. But the wall, you definitely hear it. All angles are covered. We had a blast. It was a lot of fun. Check out the Marshall wall. What's up, Nick? How are you?
Very well, Corey. Yourself?
Great. You gotta have the most important piece of gear, the earplugs.
Oh yeah, I normally don't wear them, but for this demonstration, you have to.
Yeah.
Because we're using the head that's got the cable plugged into it. That's our master, if you will. So that's hooked up to the 2 4x12s directly below it in that column. Then what we're doing is we're taking the effects loop out of that into a radial D7, splitting it to the other 6 heads effects returns, so we're using the power amps of the remaining 6.
Nice.
So we've got a total of 7 times 2 4x12, so 14 4x12s being driven by a master head, and then 6 others working as its slave.
Tell me about the JVM model a little bit if you can.
It's the JVM 410H, so it's 100 watts EL34s. It's got 4 channels, clean, crunch, overdrive 1, overdrive 2, and each channel has 3 modes. So you can go from clean to not so clean to not very clean, and then various forms of gain from mild to totally ridiculous, and then even far beyond ridiculous.
To places no one's ever been before of ridiculousness.
And the great thing about this is that when you play a single stack, it's great, but if you step a few feet this way or that way, you're off axis.
Yeah.
When you've got all of these, it becomes Slayerland, and you can't escape. It's a tidal wave, and it doesn't matter if you swim left or right, you're going to get rolled over with it.
Awesome.
So it kind of hugs you. So talk is cheap, though. You should play it.
I think I might, but you know what's cool, and you can, since you've been playing big stages forever, you know, this is why you needed that stuff back in the day, because as soon as you stepped off axis, you can't hear it.
Yeah.
You know, and you're just digging into your guitar with no sound. So that's why our heroes had to do this stuff.
Yeah, it's not volume, it's width.
Yeah.
You want a solid beam that's as wide as your side of the stage. So
Yeah,
anywhere
man.
you are, you're not off axis.
It's a thing people don't realize until, especially with the closed back cabinet.
Oh yeah, because
Yeah.
it's very, very directional.
Directional, yeah.
And yeah, it's a pretty scary thing in a good way. But it changes the way you perceive the way the sound is, and that changes the way you play because it's very physical.
Yeah,
Because
absolutely.
you can't get out of it. So we just had someone else in, and he said, I pay I pay like $40 for a massage, not as good as this in the mall, you know.
All right, well, let's set me up here and see what noise I can make.
Cool.
Awesome.
My favorite companies by far is Universal Audio. I've worked hand in hand with them for a few years, demonstrating the aux box, their UAFX, and I even dropped a recent video on their new UAFX amp pedals as well. So you can check that in the links, or actually I'll put it here as well. You can jump over to it. But one of the guys I really wanted to hang with and play guitar with was James Santiago of Universal Audio. He's one of their lead product managers for the guitar stuff that comes out of that company. I would challenge you to find anyone that knows more about tone than this guy. I mean, he can tell you so much about guitar tone, pretty much since someone plugged into an amplifier. He's that knowledgeable. Speakers, amps, pedals, guitars, the finest nuances of those things he can tell you about. And he's a darn fine guitar player to boot. Don't you hate it when people are that talented, smart, and are all in one package? Plus, he's a wonderful guy. So we're just jamming over a track. I was not going to get out of there without jamming with James. We had a good time, and of course you can watch my UAFX pedal demo on this channel as well. I'll link to it. All right, let's check out me jamming with James. All right, so we're playing, we rolled a dice. We got a minor blues.
Okay.
We don't know the key. I think it might be B minor. I think this might be
that's like almost the saddest of all.
It's
a minor third down.
One
from
and third down from the saddest of all. Yeah, exactly. So it's not quite like gouging your eyes out or like, you know.
You remember those music tests they give you? You start here. What's a minor third down from that? I just had a flashback of not doing so hot in that class.
Well, I don't want to, pain you any further than I'm doing.
We
now.
left the station in A major. 2 hours from now, we landed.
Oh, I was
in
terrible at word
yeah.
problems.
Yeah.
Word problems were not my thing. Actually, nothing in school was my thing.
Jazz band was my thing, but that was from 7, 8 in the morning.
Yeah.
See, this video has completely gone down.
So they wouldn't let me in jazz band unless I played cymbals or something in the marching band. And I was like, that is some bullshit. Like, you don't have a guitar player in jazz band. It wasn't a progressive school.
See what happened to us after all these things?
So then I had to learn my jazz licks somewhere else.
I never learned them. I just faked my licks.
No, you know a lot more of them than I am.
I was playing police songs between the jazz tunes. All right.
They're like, James, can you turn the Electric Mr. Soft, please?
I know one chord.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, so we rolled.
We're rolling it.
We rolled the roulette wheel. We're playing a minor blues. So you could probably tell that Gearfest 22 was like a picker's paradise. I mean, we get to play a lot of guitars, play a lot of music, hang out with some friends, make new friends, see other great players play. It was really a lot of fun, and there's so much more that we did that I am not able to show you. I just don't have all the footage because it went by in a blur. But Gibson was there, and they had a really cool booth. It was like a TV studio type of thing where we did a really fun interview. I did do some other videos with Martin Guitar that's going to be coming out. We focused on the new Rich Robinson signature guitar and their 2.5 millionth guitar built. They had it with them, diamonds and all. Be on the lookout for that here on the channel too. So if you got any questions about Gearfest or any of the gear I played, please drop them in the comments. I'd love to jump in there and chat with you. And don't forget, please follow some of these companies that I'm highlighting and also some of these other great guitar players and friends. This is a fun community. You're a part of it just by subscribing. And if you haven't subscribed, I hope you do. Or click the like button to get this video out there so that other people can see all the fun that we're having. All right, thanks so much. I'm Corey. I'll see you on the next video.